Hi everybody, my name is James Martinez. Today we are meeting with one of our features for the November 2025 issue. Who do we have with us today?
My name's Chase Cates.
Awesome. Alrighty, so Chase Cates, let's get started. So where are you originally from, if you don't mind me asking?
I grew up in Dallas. I've kind of bounced around quite a bit. I did my undergrad training in San Angelo, Texas. I did my master's in College Station. And then from there, all my medical training was outside of Texas. I've been in Pittsburgh, New York, Arkansas, Los Angeles, and now here in San Antonio.
Awesome, that's great. Now, what pronouns do you go by?
He, him.
All right. So, and you said currently you live
Here in San Antonio. Yep.
In a few words, how would you describe your personality?
I tend to be shy, timid, but also very passionate about what I do, and feel dedicated. So once I get started, I don't like to give up.
So what is it that you do?
I'm a physician here in San Antonio. I work at a local nonprofit where we specialize in LGBTQ healthcare. So HIV, primary care, hormones, PrEP, anal cancer screening, you name it. If we can do it for the community, we do it.
Fantastic. Now, within the LGBT plus community, how do you identify personally?
I'm a gay man.
Right. And when did you first realize that you were gay, and what was that experience like?
Yeah, it's a little tough to answer. Like knowing what I know now, when I think back, I can go all the way back to maybe like fourth grade, and realize some same-sex attractions that were going on. I didn't come to terms with anything until I was in medical school at the age of 27. It kind of took getting away from the South, away from Southern culture and family, to really be able to explore myself. So when I was in my first couple years of med school out in Pittsburgh, that's when I finally admitted to myself who I am, and began to explore my identity.
Wow. And what year was that in?
It's 27. You're going to make me do math here. So that would have been around 2013, 2014, somewhere around there.
All right. So, being LGBT plus, are there any challenges that you've encountered, either with family, with friends, with employment? Is there anything you've experienced like that?
Yeah, kind of all of the above. Not as much friends. My friends have been very supportive. Family, so when I first came out, it was somewhat new to my parents. I had told them, and then my mom had got married to her now husband, and it just didn't go that well. There's some discrimination there. This was back in like 2015. Since then, they have come around, and they're very supportive now. I feel like one of my big, turning points that actually kind of led me to my career now was in residency. I was in Arkansas, and I was trying to do like a don't ask, don't tell policy, because I went from being very open and free out in New York and Pennsylvania to now being in Arkansas, where I didn't feel safe to be who I was. I was dating my now husband at the time, training a PA student, and we got engaged, and so we talked about wedding plans the whole month. At the end of the month, she wrote thank you cards to everybody, and mine said, "Dear Dr. Cates, thank you, blah, blah, blah. P.S. I hope you find God." And I just felt like this is ridiculous, that because I'm dating a man, I'm now a godless person, even though we didn't talk about religion. And so it was kind of that turning point that really got me committed to being very open and proud and loud, and making sure that I'm not going to be silenced anymore.
That's great. That's great. How long have you and your husband been together?
We met in 2016, and we've been married since 2018.
Wow, that's really great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And how does he sort of navigate it? Like, how have you guys navigated as a couple?
While we were in Arkansas, that's kind of where even today, we're not very big on PDA. And I feel like the big reason was because in Arkansas, we didn't feel safe to do so unless we were at Pride. And that just kind of translated everywhere we went. Even when we spent a year in Los Angeles, it just never felt right. But he's always been supportive. He's always been by my side. He's been my rock, and been my biggest supporter. As I was doing all of my trainings and moving around everywhere. So, I mean, he's been able to navigate well. As a couple, we just kind of had to, I feel like we've conformed to what we expect society to be, especially when we're in public. But so far, it's worked for us. I just wish it wasn't that way.
Yeah. Now I'm going to move into interests.
Okay.
All right. So going into your the things that you like to do aside from being LGBT, what do you like doing for fun? I know you're a doctor. What do you usually do outside of work?
I'm a big gamer. I love video games. I've got my PlayStation 5. We built a house out here, and I built a little movie theater in the house, so I've got my PlayStation set up in there. And I get very addicted to video games, so that's all I'll do is I'll just play that until I'm done. So I always have to take a break after I finish a game because my husband hasn't seen me in days. and so I just need to take a break. The last couple of years, I've really gotten into reading as well. I've been just kind of buying any gay themed books, or at least gay characters in the book. Yeah. And then going through I probably in the last couple of years maybe read about 50 books. Oh. Yeah. But those are my two big things. Lately I've been into Legos. I just found a couple of Star Wars Legos and started building that. No, you're good.
I went swimming before this. Oh my God. So, what's something that you wish more people in society understood about what it is to be LGBT?
I've tried to think about this for a while. I feel like a big part is given how our society really approaches people in a more heteronormative approach where we have, this is how you're expected to be. I feel like a lot of us grow up hiding parts of ourselves in order to fit that normative. And then when we finally come out, it takes a lot of exploration to really figure out who we are. Over the years, there's been a lot of things where I'm like, well, I don't like that. And when I finally got to explore it, I'm like, I love this. Yeah. And I didn't realize that was something I was suppressing. A big thing, as an example, is drag. Like even when I initially came out, I would have some gay friends who would invite me to drag shows, and I'd be like, no, that's weird. And then at some point, it changed. I gave into RuPaul's Drag Race and watched it, and I was like, oh my God, I love this. And then I was just kind of able to explore that. And then now, anytime we just see anything LGBT related, I give it a try. I'm like, maybe I will like this. Maybe it's something I didn't want to explore before because I didn't know how I would be perceived. So I feel like a big part of us is our identities grow because we're learning about ourselves from things that we suppressed before. And it's not that we as a person are changing. We are exploring and trying to figure out who we are completely and what is something that we just didn't allow ourselves to explore before.
Very well said. I like that.
Thank you.
Now, what do you think people can do to be more supportive?
I feel like show up, speak up when you're seeing something obviously wrong going. Whether we have parades or protests or anything else, just for your family members, for your friends who are out there just wanting to protect their rights and just be able to live their life freely. Just be supportive. Just let them know that you're there for them. But also, it means a lot to just show up. Even if it means holding a sign at a protest or coming with you to Pride. It can mean a lot just knowing that you're there, rather than just saying you're there behind closed doors. It takes that extra mile to really show that support, and it means a lot, especially when a lot of us have grown up not knowing what support felt like. So, I mean, that's my biggest thing, and it's the easiest thing is to just be there.
Be there, be aware. Now, for somebody who's maybe barely going through their early stages of discovering themselves, what piece of advice would you give them?
Take it slow. You don't have to jump in head first. You don't need to. I feel like you're going to know yourself the best. I've had some patients for example, I've had some trans patients who they finally acknowledged who they are, and that's great. But also their living situation was not great or safe to actually start the transition process. And so we had to come with terms. We were like, yes, I agree, and I will absolutely do this for you. However, you're telling me that you don't feel safe if a parent were to discover that you're doing something. So know what is safe. Make sure that you get yourself into a safe spot before you really start exploring things. But I mean, take it slow. A lot of this is going to evolve very slowly over time, including you figuring out who you are. And some things may just kind of come full force and you really get to experience LGBT life completely. But everyone's journey is different. So you don't need to compare yourself to others. And, somebody else started their phase with a whole bunch of sexual partners and that's not into you, don't feel like you have to do that. Don't force yourself to go on that pathway. Just listen to who you are, do what you want to do, and live your life authentically in your skin, not somebody else's.
So do things your way.
Yes.
I like that. Yeah. So I do have a few more intimate questions.
Yeah.
Before we get into this, do you have any final words that you'd like to say regarding community or personal reflection?
I mean, the biggest thing I would say is I know things are very scary right now, but there is support. You just have to find it. And especially if you're in a smaller town or a smaller area, it may not seem as obvious, but there is someone somewhere who cares for you and loves you and will be there for you. You just have to reach out and find us. But I would just say not to lose hope. That I truly feel that things will get better and that there are plenty of very good people in the world that have our backs and will fight for us. So in these times, don't lose hope.
All right, so I just want to dive in a little bit. I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions. Can you recall a specific moment in your life when you had to choose between your safety and being yourself? Have you ever had a moment like that?
I feel like most of the time that I was in Arkansas, the area of Arkansas I was in was very heavily Church of Christ. And when I became more vocal and even starting to wear my pride shoes every day, there would always be comments, always be remarks. And I never felt more judged in my life than I did while I was out there, to the point where if my husband and I wanted to do anything together, we basically acted like we were brothers or friends rather than partners. So I felt like the entire time I was there, we operated undercover, basically. In our home and with friends, like in the private times, like we would be who we wanted to be. But anytime we went in public, anytime we wanted to go anywhere, we never knew when that next bashing was going to come, if it was going to be us, if somebody was going to harass us. So the 3 years that we're there, we chose to just act straight rather than live authentically.
And what kind of emotional toll does that put on you?
I mean, I feel like it's something that kind of built up over time that maybe I don't even realize it right now. But like even today, I've had friends and family members comment about how they never see my husband and I kiss or hold hands. And I realized I think that stemmed from there, where we were just too afraid to do anything. And then here we are almost 10 years later and we still don't want to, even though we feel safer here. Even though we were in Los Angeles, where we were in a bubble that felt perfectly safe, we still didn't feel like it. So I feel like emotionally in a relationship, it kind of took away something that a heterosexual couple doesn't think twice about. That they're able to hold hands and, even if it's just like a quick peck on the cheek, we feel a little too scared to do that. So I feel like that's taken away a big part of what is nice about being in a relationship. And then the other part is always feeling like you're having to hide a little bit about yourself. That, I mean, even now out here in San Antonio, I'm still learning some things that I like because I chose not to explore it in Arkansas. So it's just a lot of hiding can really take a big burden until you're finally able to escape and be free.
Now, last question. Now that we're kind of moving up in the future, things are changing pretty fast, I'd say. Do you think that will change? Do you think it is changing right now?
I mean, even over the last 20 years, we can see society has become very much more progressive when it comes to our community. And I think it's still going to go that way, even though a lot of the targeting right now is against us. I still feel it's going to progress forward. And it's going to be much more open to the point where being gay, being lesbian, being trans is just going to be a person. So I think we'll get there eventually. It's slow, and we're having a little bit of setbacks right now. But I can absolutely see us getting there.
It's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I think, this new generation of people, we're growing up where this is becoming so normalized, and I agree with you. I think that in the future, things are going to look a little bit brighter. We're still kind of getting out of the 20th century right now.
Right.
Only 25 years in. So I think there's brighter days ahead.
Yeah. I think we'll get there. I mean, even now, like when I was growing up, you didn't necessarily hear of people coming out as gay when they were teenagers, and now it's happening earlier and earlier that people are not only realizing, but they're able to feel safe enough to come out in their early teens, maybe even preteens. And I feel like that's a positive sign that they feel safe and respected to do so. When I know I myself didn't feel comfortable until I was 27. So, part of me is very jealous that, I wonder what life would have been like had I been able to do that 15 years earlier. But at the same time, I'm very happy with where I am. That I feel like, things happen for a reason, and I'm happy with how it turned out. But to me, that's showing progress in society, that kids and youth are able to feel so safe to do that at a young age.
Fantastic, yeah. That's really, really good answers. I like
Thank
that.
you.
So do you have any questions before we finish up? Any final words you'd like to say?
I don't think so. I'm very happy to have met you. I hope this reaches a bunch of people, especially those that maybe need to hear or see some of these words, to maybe feel a little bit more comfortable about where they're at or where they're going.
Well, guys, this is the end of our episode. If you want, you can catch us on the PridePress website, www.pridepress.co, or you can check us out on social media. All right, thank you again.
Thank you.